Hello and welcome back to World News here on TVP World, coming to you live from Warsaw, Poland. I'm Anna Kalczyńska. Good morning. US Vice President J.D. Vance will be attending the commemoration of Auschwitz on January 27th, a Polish government source has told TVP World. He joins a list of international leaders attending the 80th anniversary of liberation of German Nazi concentration and extermination camp. Polish officials involved in the preparation of the ceremony said they could not confirm the report. The American vice president will be joined at the event by global leaders such as King Charles and the Israeli education minister. The commemoration at the site near the present-day Polish town of Oświęcim near Kraków will mostly focus on the few survivors who are still alive, the Auschwitz Museum said earlier. Over 1 million people, most of them Jews, were murdered at Auschwitz-Birkenau by Nazi Germany during World War II. Sanctions, tariffs and taxes, that's what the Kremlin will face from the US if a deal to end the war in Ukraine is not struck soon, President Donald Trump said on Wednesday. He also called for a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine.
I'm not looking to hurt Russia. I love the Russian people and always had a very good relationship with President Putin. And this despite the radical left's Russia, Russia, Russia hoax. We must never forget that Russia helped us win the Second World War, losing almost 60 million lives in the process. All of that being said, I'm going to do Russia, whose economy is failing, and President Putin a very big favor. Settle now and stop this ridiculous war. It's only going to get worse. If we don't make a deal, and soon, I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries. Let's get this war, which never would have started if I were president, over with. We can do it the easy way or the hard way, and the easy way is always better. It's time to make a deal. No more lives should be lost.
Germany has deployed 2 Patriot missile defense systems to the Jasionka airport in Poland, main hub used for delivering aid to Ukraine. Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz praised NATO's unity and cooperation on this matter during a press conference with his German counterpart Boris Pistorius on Thursday.
For several days now, NATO has taken control of the operations securing the airport in Jasionka, including training, assistance and securing these areas in support of Ukraine. This is a decision from the summit in Washington, which we made together as allies. And today I would like to thank Minister Pistorius for his confirmation of readiness, for truly total support for the allies, for Poland, for Ukraine, and not just in words, but in deeds. This is not the first time our patriots are in Poland. I clearly remember my visit to Zamość some time ago. Even then, the Luftwaffe's ground-based air defense showed that it was capable of a cold start and very professional. Colonel Schmaler and his 200 soldiers are already here. In a very short time, they prepared everything, and on Monday they moved 2 Patriot units here. This will guarantee continuous protection for the transport point of aid to Ukraine for the next 6 months.
A sustainable peace in Ukraine means that Russia cannot be allowed to seize any more territory in the future, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said on Thursday at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He added that a future NATO membership for Ukraine is not a red line for Moscow to draw.
Our focus has to be to bring Ukraine in the best possible position when peace talks will start. And when they end, we have to make sure that the peace then we have collectively fostered, that peace is sustainable, will never, ever be challenged again. And yes, obviously, full NATO membership is then the easiest outcome. But whatever exactly the outcome is, it has to be clear that it's sustainable. And finally on this, we have to make clear that Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin has no veto and has no vote on whoever would join NATO in the future. Only if he wants to join NATO, but I don't think he wants.
We need competitive energy prices, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said in Oslo after meeting with his Norwegian counterpart Jonas Gahr Støre. The leaders announced that Poland and Norway would enter into a strategic energy partnership.
Our main goal is to have cheap energy, cheap enough so that economies of both the EU and Norway can truly compete with other world powers. This is why we need competitive energy prices. That's why Norway's role is key. After today's discussions, I better understand just how important it is for Norway and the European Union to be able to wisely look after common interests. We don't want to compete with each other. We want to cooperate, so that what I'll call our political community could compete with those who aren't always on our side.
The European Union plans to deliver 35 billion euros in financial aid to Ukraine in 2025. The financing of the aid will be part of the G7 Extraordinary Revenue Acceleration Credit Initiative and the Ukrainian Facility Programme. The aid was announced by European Commissioner for Trade, Valdis Dombrovskis, this January via the social media platform X. On January 10, Ukraine received 3 billion euros from the European Union, which was the first tranche in a series of loans financed by proceeds from frozen Russian assets. The funding was delivered through the G7's Extraordinary Revenue Acceleration Initiative, under which G7 nations committed nearly $50 billion in loans to Ukraine, with the EU contributing approximately $20 billion. The Ukraine facility referenced by Dombrovskis is a key financial assistance program launched by European Union in February 2024 to support Ukraine between 2024 and 2027. In November, the European Commission approved an allocation of 4.1 billion euros under the program to assist the Ukrainian government in its recovery, reconstruction and modernization efforts. Now, at least one person is dead and 24 have been severely injured, including one infant, following an early morning Russian attack on the Ukrainian city of Zaporozhye. Sources report that people remain trapped under the rubble. At least 4 explosions took place around 4 a.m. local time. Residential buildings were hit, with buildings in the direct vicinity damaged as well. At least 5 of the injured are in serious condition. It's the 3rd attack on the city in 5 days. While the Zaporozhye region is mostly under Russian occupation, the north of the area, including the capital, remain under Ukrainian control. And the European Parliament will be voting a number of motions today, including on measures to combat Russian disinformation and historical falsification. Among other things, the motions call for member states to reject Moscow's justification for the war. The 5 individual motions on Russia are each filed by different groups within the European Parliament, but overall they call for a thorough rejection of Moscow's rhetoric about the war, including claims of protecting ethnic Russians and putting Ukraine squarely into the so-called Russian world. One motion also calls out Russia's interference in European elections, including the alleged boosting of far-right Romanian presidential candidate Calin Georgescu through TikTok, condemnation of Russian misinformation involving historical events, such as the murder of Polish officials and intellectuals during the World War II Katyn massacre, is also in the cards. Speaking to Fox News on Wednesday, Donald Trump once again repeated claims about the wars in Israel and Ukraine. According to the newly sworn-in president, the October 7th attack and the war between Russia and Ukraine would never have happened if he had been in the Oval Office at that time.
Well, it was a lot of work. And as you know, I felt that we shouldn't have had to necessarily be here. Could have been done, a lot of work. Could have been, it would have been over. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had the Afghanistan disaster. We wouldn't have October 7th with Israel, where so many people were killed. And you wouldn't have a Ukraine war going on. But with all that being said, I think it's bigger. It's bigger than if it were more traditional.
Donald Trump has chosen Andrew Pazder to serve as U.S. ambassador to the European Union. The appointment marks a comeback to politics for Pazder after his previous nomination to lead the Labour Department in 2017 was derailed by allegations of domestic abuse. Trump praised Pazder as a successful attorney, businessman, economic commentator and author. Andrew Pazder previously served as the CEO of an international fast food chain, where he drew criticism over the company's history of pay and work safety violations. In a social media post, Trump pointed to Pazder's economic and financial prowess as crucial in representing America's interests in the region.
How about Don?
Over 200 schools across Hungary received bomb threats this morning, allegedly coming from Islamists, according to Hungarian media. The threats were made through an email and have resulted in school evacuations. The mails started coming in at several schools in Budapest, but were quickly also received by schools all over the country. The Hungarian office of the Prime Minister has claimed the bomb threats were made in the name of Islamic extremists. The police could only confirm that the mails came from a single source. The Hungarian government has contacted their Slovakian counterparts, who experienced a similar incident in 2022. And that concludes this edition of World News. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned to TVP World for more features and more news very soon. Thank you very much.